Good afternoon. Well, the cricket's going interesting so far. I've seen, what was it, a wicket on the first ball. The Pom's not looking too. Oh, sorry, I can't. The English cricket team not looking too good. But don't lose hope. And it's a long series. It's a long test. But pretty good start for the Australians. Yeah, interesting to see the new English team. Um, I'm not sure Pope was still in there. Pope was still in the English. He was still out on the field. Um, Duckett got out. I think there was Brook and Root. A lot of puns coming to mind, but it's not the time for puns. It's the time for cricket, which I'm watching digitally. Unfortunately, as I watch the cricket digitally on the internet, I can't do the great old thing that my father used to do, which is listen to the radio commentating, because the commentating on the radio is actually usually a lot more in depth and there's a lot of banter going on. Because they're not simulcast, which means they're not playing at the same time. There's a lag, so that's one ball behind. So I don't know. I don't know whether that's a priority for the government anymore. Seems like the government is just trying to create some type of digital Sharia law, you know, monstrosity using livestock handling equipment in the form of these digital bracelets. I just watched a little snippet from Libby Medham in Parliament, so I'm going to address this through Parliament, through the Senate. Is that what it's called? The Legislative Assembly, or is it the Legislative? I'll have to look again. My memory isn't very good for like those things at hand, but I will submit it to wherever. So there's an argument going on. Basically, the premier, his words, not mine, has promised the West Australian people that if you breach their restraining orders, which they are shown to be negligently prepared, there's a lot of problems with the violence restraining order system currently in play. A bit like when I ordered Domino's pizza, they had that app. They had that little that had a timeline, and if it didn't get there, then your pizza was free. This cop for hire kind of, you know, digital bullying, digital, mafia esque concept that the premier has floated here is leading to some pretty catastrophic situations. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to produce evidence that was acquired during my community corrections counseling sessions, in which I spoke to their Polish born feminist, extreme feminist counselor, on multiple occasions brought up the rampant alcoholism and pre-existing domestic violence restraining orders in the two individuals that were doing this. So we can see here that this is a rising tide lifts all ships. It's just that all of those ships belong to the West Australian Police or the West Australian government at the moment. And all the ships that should be getting, beautifully bobbing in our safe waterways are being radically, harassed by a bureaucratic monstrosity. There is about 10 different levels of experimentation to do with marital dynamics that are constantly bombarding our senses in the digital environment. And it seems like all parties in this country are or have headed down a pathway with no regard for what's at the end. This is experimentation. And considering my breach was digital, I'm guessing a lot of them. I don't have the exact percentages in front of me, but perhaps someone who does could get them. But this is digital experimentation on the population down experimental concepts to do with marital situations. This is insanity. And then on top of it, you're using a livestock tool, a tool that it was meant for the worst type of offenders. So there is a chance in this state. Like me, I hadn't talked to anyone. I didn't receive any type of justice at any point. Not one person listened to anything I was saying. There was no action taken to offer counselling or relative. Like, it was just assumed that I was 100% the most guilty person on fucking planet Earth. And then I was just like wheeled through the IKEA that the West Australian government has become. Now, in a certain case, the end of this could end up with me with a torture device attached to my leg, which is what this is. If you're not getting listened to, let's not forget, I was documenting this publicly on a digital service. I was already carrying a phone, so my assumption that my presence or my location was already accessible, was already there. That's bad enough. You go the one step further in a system that is shown to not regulate or not at any point assume an anomalous situation. And in this case, I'll be nice and say the anomalous situation is that there is lies going on and there is weaponization of a system that is supposed to protect women that is being used as a weapon against Australian citizens, which is a snowballing effect that I am now 3 years into and still without comment. And yet the leader or the Libby Meta is still arguing the point of, well, Roger Cook said that everyone could have the collars. It's like, hang on. What is going on? Let's get to the bottom of what the whole government, what the whole media conglomerate is trying to do to marriage. Let's take the temperature of the state, of the country, of the world, and see, has there been billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars spent recently, convincing people of the benefits of a homosexual or a alternative sexual arrangement? Could that be considered as military escalation towards existing religious groups, the Church of England being the religion that this country was established under, and let's say Catholicism being, how much trouble? So why was there a Church of England? Because there was conflict between the Protestants and the Catholics. Okay, did that cause a lot of trouble in the world? Yes, obviously it did. Mainly the one that's called the Troubles in Ireland, between the Northern Ireland and the South. Obviously there's further dynamics going on. So we can assume based on this that religious changes or change to now modern day individuals, modern day people in our state, it's imperceptible, the difference. Even in my case, of someone who's done a lot of research into it, the hearsay explanation about the difference between Protestantism, that it's you get to choose what it is. That's not even what it is. So that's like, how many assumptions are we stacking up here? And it's becoming clear that the government has no intention of actually improving any situation at all, except for the promotion of government intervention into marriages. That's it. Now, the problem comes when one of the largest critique points that this alternative sexuality, LBGTQ, whatever thing plus, has had against the religions was its over involvement in relationship dynamics. Yet the government is acting as its what? Life partner? So is this an exposure of the unholy alliance between the socialized governments of the world and the billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars in promotion of the Pride LBGTQ plus movement? A collection of individuals, so-called dispossessed by the organized religions of the world. I'm sorry, but this is all got to stop. The separation of church and state needs to be accepted in this case. The example that the T, let's say the trans movement, huge part of the LBGTQ promotional material, billions of dollars spent. Majoritively, that trans movement. Now, this doesn't mean I'm for or against. It doesn't mean that. But most of that manifestation is completely dependent on a medical system, a socialized healthcare system, a mass distribution pharmaceutical industry to provide hormones, to provide surgeries, to provide, even things like hair removal and cosmetics. So as we dust away the sand off this buried piece of evidence here, this handgun, which is what it is. It's a fucking handgun, isn't it? I've just found a handgun by the largest cult that's ever been tried to be that is plugged directly into our government system, that has thousands and thousands of armed handguns, tasers, cameras, recording devices, helicopters, supercharged, ideologically captured individuals on a continuously over-censored digital social network that is now being That's it's a bit more than a handgun, isn't it? Oh, it seems like a fucking aircraft carrier with a fucking pride rainbow flag is parked right outside our fucking harbour here. It's nosing its way in. See what I. O'Connor would be fucking spinning in his grave. At what point are you all going to get the fucking message that this isn't up for discussion? You've already gone too far. It's just constant, over and over and over again, exposure that there is a little hamster wheel of government going on in every state and federally and more than likely locally. But it is not actually governing in the example set down by the Westminster system. It is disconnected. You're now in orbit, outer space. But I don't know exactly what it's going to take for you to understand this. These two things can't happen. I can't be here every day half an hour, 40 minutes, whatever it is, maybe an hour and a half if I ride my bike there, which I'd have to do because I haven't got any money and I can't, I can't be reassured that I have a license because I've been held captive in a digital concentration camp and ignored by every single aspect of government. And I don't want to get caught driving. I don't even have a car because my car got repossessed while I was being firebombed under the protection of these restraining orders. 3 years is too long. I thought the 3 hours that the two individuals who sat there and drank vodka while they waited for the police to come, I thought that was too long. But 3 years, that's really stacking up as a lot of fucking time, as a lot of disruption. And then I turn on and I see that you're still arguing about the dynamics of after. It's like we need to go further back. Under our immigration policy, how many religions have been brought in? How many different cultures? How many different ingredients have you added to the fruit salad that the Wiggles so gaily sing about? Why did I have to watch a bunch of guys in coloured skivvies, sing fruit salad? With a pirate. Do you know what I mean? I'm really sick of the fucking experimentation. This hasn't just affected my generation and my children and myself. I was subject to these same ridiculous concepts. This no-fault divorce, this disability pension, mental illness, private health insurance, feminist bully concept that basically highway robbed my father's property and left two young boys in the care of two medicated, mentally ill people. One of them who was a rampant alcoholic that broke into my window to steal his paintings. You know what I mean? Then went troppo and then died shortly after leaving a Salvation Army rehabilitation centre in Gosnells. What the fuck do you think you're doing in there? The children of Western Australia, of Australia, are not guinea pigs to be experimented on with these ridiculous livestock control concepts when they don't even know what to think anymore. You've implanted with the form of unregulated media or uncensored media. You've just let everything in for 40 years. Every little piece of everything. This state, apart from the city, the rest of the state, which is what you're talking about when you talk about regional areas that don't think, those regional areas should be appropriately developing at a period of English history that is round about the 1600s. Now, obviously, we can avoid a lot of the castles and swords. But if you actually look at that period, you'll find that a lot of those swords and castles and things like that, even in the 1600s, were symbolic. Yes, there were wars and there were conflicts, but there was symbolic parliamentary representation of these concepts, and this is what we're remembering. But you're trying to project outwardly from the city some type of fucking digital entrapment system. Some type of Amazon warehouse fucking, digital fucking stock livestock control system, a lot like the livestock control system that Pfizer and Albert Bourla developed, who is a livestock veterinarian, and you pumped the entire fucking state full of his fucking bullshit. Get the fuck out of Parliament House. Every single fucking one of you. Before every fucking kangaroo trail, every donkey trail, every emu trail has 6,000 fucking men from every fucking region of the existing and the previously existing British Empire marching towards you with fucking machine guns. Get the fuck out of there. When you turn on the fucking telly and you watch the fucking stadium, what's it named after? A fucking telecommunications fucking network. Well, how is all of this possible? A telephone fucking network. Is that what the fucking country was established under? No, it fucking wasn't. Is there a fucking parliamentary fucking cell phone? Is there a parliamentary fucking iPhone? I sure as hell hope there isn't. Actually, I'll guarantee that there fucking isn't. So what the fuck do you all think you're doing in there? This is both fucking parties. I know that I lean liberal. Okay, that's some fucking, that's some hereditary shit I picked up from my father. But I don't lean anywhere on this fucking concept. You don't fucking argue the intricacies of how you fucking herd your cattle around when they're all fucking dying and addicted to methamphetamine and fucking themselves on the internet, you cowardice fucking maggots. At the end of the fucking day, you all pack up your shit, you walk the fuck out of there, and you get to work in planting some fucking trees that the citizens of this country can fucking sit under for shade, not the livestock of this country. I don't know who's been in your ear, who's been leaning in your fucking DMs, who's been fucking pounding you over a fucking bench for all I fucking know. But this shit is done. This state belongs to England. It does not belong to the West Australian fucking government. Perhaps, Baz, as you leave the fucking room, jump on the fucking train, get off at the fucking stadium, knock on the door at Channel 7 and say, hey, is there a job here? I'm just recently unemployed. Is there a job possibly with the Channel 7 where I could get back to my real skill set and commentate some sport? Libby, I don't know too much about you. I'm sure you're okay. I don't know exactly what type of conversations are taking place in your party room to get to this result, and for you to think that this is the appropriate thing to drag out at this moment. But you've severely misread the situation. I'm sorry. Maybe take a couple of weeks down south, walk along the beach and just have a chill. We'll take to say, I don't know, February to, let the dust settle under the care of the British Empire. We've got a pretty good, track record for taking care of things. Perhaps, with the resources you've got floating around, just put something about, hey, everyone just stay fucking calm and cool and look after each other this Christmas. It's a tricky time in the world, but look after each other. We're West Australia. We are, you are, we are West Australia. Whatever the fuck that is, right? And then say, we come back at February when all the kids go back to school and we vote in a new fucking parliament. And we begin the process of going back and looking at what 80 years of war has done to this country, to this state, and to the fucking people of the world. that have decided to gather in this state, Western Australia. What about that? Does that sound good? As someone who's personally used electric fences and different, technological concepts to keep livestock in, it's okay. The problem is it's not foolproof. Now, when a sheep gets out and fucking, chews up someone's fucking rhodesia, what are they called? I wish I had said the proper flower. If someone picks it there, rhododendrons. Right, that lady has a bad day. Her rhododendrons are not there anymore. If someone gets out of the livestock system that shouldn't even be there in the first place, leaning on that system on both parties is just a bad example. The only thing you can do is to focus in on what works, send a clear fucking example about what is acceptable in relationships from both sides. Every single post, everything online I ever see that has anything bringing this has all the comments saying, what about the men? What about the women that are using this on the men? The jig is up. 40 fucking years of this pandering to women, this gender lunacy, this slight bias on both sides because of the introduction of the female vote downstream, all within this 80-year period, has gotten to this point. It's just absurdity now. It doesn't make any sense. This doesn't mean that, that there aren't, the trans thing is just the tip of the iceberg. I don't care about the trans thing. It doesn't matter. It means, those people should be looked after and they're whatever, but it doesn't matter here. Okay, just like it doesn't matter that there's people that like fucking kite surfing. Or there's people that like fucking, doing interpretive dance or trap shooting. That doesn't matter. It's like a hobby. That's what that is. The only reason that this continuously is the tip of the conversational argument is because of this gender bias from introducing women that has been passed back and forth like the Australian Open that just keeps going like this. And what have you done? You've given ultimate power to alcoholic women in this country, to drug addicts, to fraud women, to manipulated women, to suicidal women, to psychotic women and men. And it's got to stop. It's gone beyond left and right politics. Look at this. I wish, if this is thing, here's a comment here. Stephen Wells, it's that same Stephen Wells. Oh, great, it's Gareth Train. I don't even know what that means. Looks like he's in a shouty mood. This isn't shouting, dickhead. Looks like you're in a trolling mood. Poor Siobhan. He's called out my girlfriend by name on this while she's there, and this is the situation you've created. With this bipartisan back and forth, gender, he's a bloke again today. Cool. Mate, do you understand what like symbolic how complicated this is to explain? Do you understand the fucking chaos that's going on? No, you don't. You're here fucking doing this. I don't even know if you're real. Once again, don't even know if he's real. Why isn't this bloke getting fucking dragged in front of a fucking court? Because you've built a fucking sheep gate in a shearing shed while trying to stop the fucking sheep industry. You're sorting out livestock. You're not building a state. And it's got to stop. I think basically the game is everyone's been pushed to do this. The people with their hands on the wheel know. We know when we're fucking going to change it. The further you go down it, the more you're exposed, the more we expose you, the more leverage we get over you, and the more foolish that we make you look. But this is my home state. I'd like it to look good. And when I look at it, the only way that I can figure out for it to look good is what I've suggested. So please get to work in doing it. It's not a mistake that the Ashes has taken place. It's not a mistake that our stadium, that's been disgraced with its telephonic fucking company, whatever, from a previous paradigm, is surrounded by English flags. For this to be done cooperatively is the best result for everybody. It's seamless. It's like we've got Prince William in Brazil right now putting out flames of a environmental strategy. And we've got England reclaiming Western Australia and starting the new world here of conversational fucking diplomacy, which is what politics is. See, this is the thing. You've cooked it because you didn't have a conversation. You sat there and watched someone fucking play a little pantomime of them going insane, dressing up, doing all these things, making threats, yelling, all these things. Well, what's my excuse for that? If I have to front up to a court? Well, I've been in a solitary confinement type of torture situation that was induced by the ostracism under the direct quote from Mark McGowan that I was an enemy of the state, guilty by association. Pretty heavy accusations, and I'll fucking make them in any court. And I'll tell you that court won't be here. This is a constitutional monarchy. You will all be dragged to England to stand trial against these charges, or we just do as I say. Ask the king if you want to. I've asked him everything. I've continuously asked him. I think he thinks it's a great idea. I think when the king looks down at his former, his former empire and sees however many thousand Nazis on Sydney Harbour Bridge waving, terrorist flags, I think he looks to the west side and he goes, that bloke talking about cricket all the time, he's a real go-getter. I think we give him a bit of help. But hey, I don't know. You ask him yourself. Let's read the comments now. Damo Forogo, have you been smoking the wacky lettuce again? Oh dear. What does Shannon have in common with a Bunnings snag? Did you know that Bunnings was established by two individuals that set up a lunatic asylum in Fremantle? Do you know that they were the largest distributor of Chinese products during a complete shutdown on their already successful destruction of an independent hardware industry? Both completely cooked. Can't wait to hear about the latest paradigm. And I'd quite like to get these two individuals held right now, if you can find them. Held for questioning, if possible, if you can find them. I don't know if the West Australian government can find these people without their digital ID. Have you guys got digital ID? Stephen Wells, I can't find anything about this. Damo from Gero. Well, he's from Gero, right? And his name's Damo. So that cuts it down to how many blokes in Gero are named Damo? Oh, it's got to be only about 3,000 of them. It's got to be one of them. I wonder if we can get their search. No, we can't get any of that. Can't get any of these things. Yet you want to stick a tracking collar on someone who's already more than likely being abused by their fucking ex-partner. Ooh, what a country we live in. Let's shut down social media. YouTube being included as social media. These individuals have mentioned my children on here. Can we find them? That's a type of threat, isn't it? He's already mentioned someone else. These two in this one session have already done more than what was done to put me in prison, to give me a 9-month suspended sentence. This is the type of lunacy that you've all created because you've forgotten how to talk. You've forgotten how to have conversations. You've forgotten how to govern. You've forgotten how to rule. All these things. Why do you think so much, so much money, so much energy, so much time has been spent in this conversation? I'm going to make one little suggestion on top as well as you all leave Parliament House today. If you could all stick, this is an anonymous tip box, right? As you leave, you write the names on the envelope of the people that have been instructing you how to do your job. Or you type it out. No, you don't need to sign it. You don't need any names on it. It's just a big suggestion box. Someone can present it there. Baz, if you could sort that out, stick it at the door as you all leave. It's Friday afternoon. You write the 5 top names of the people that have been influencing you to create a digital livestock farm in Western Australia. And then we can take that and then we can continue to do our job. And you can all have an early Christmas break. Does that sound good? Damo says it sounds good. Damo from Jero, whichever one it is. So it looks, if Damo says it's good, he says a lot of fucking things, and he says it sounds good. So I guess considering in this whole situation, you, Libby Madam, you're on the news. Everyone knows where you are. They're at Parliament House. Baz, everyone knows where you are. You're at Parliament House. I'm pretty easy to find, and my name's on everything. And Damo from Jero, he seems to have the power in this situation, doesn't he? Because I don't know who he is, and I can't find him. And he's mentioned my children and my partner now on several occasions. So that narrows it down to 3,000 guys named Damien, in Geraldton or somewhere near Geraldton, which is a pretty big regional area. And hey, that makes me feel fucking wonderful about speaking up about political issues in the country. So yeah, thanks Damo. Thanks fucking Stephen. And thank you West Australian Parliament. And thank you Australian cricket team and the English cricket team. And thank you, Your Majesty, for always being there to lend a shoulder to cry on many occasions, and a very gentle touch. And I look forward to seeing on what the result is going to be. I don't even know. This has been 37 minutes. Fuck. England might be down to a couple of wickets. Who knows? They might have scored. They might have had a big runaway. Scored some runs. Don't know. I look forward to getting back to the action. Thank you.